Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wait What We Talk About podcast, episode 235. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and you can catch this podcast over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 when we decide to do it live. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you join in the fun and conversation with us. But if you can't catch live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, like, shares, subscriptions, reviews, whatever it is. May seem small, but it can help. May seem small, but it helps the channel grow. So if you take the time to do that, we would love and appreciate you for it. Hope everybody's doing well. In this week's episode, we're going to be talking. We're going to be talking a whole lot of wrestling. We're going to be talking about the Royal Rumble that happened this past weekend as of recording. And then we're going to be talking about WWE 2K25's reveal and the kind of like little trickles of news that we've been getting over the past couple days. As this comes out, there's probably more stuff, which I'll be eating up. But excited to chat with you guys as well as Moose. But yeah, so let's jump into the Rumble, shall we? Overall, had a great time at the Rumble. I mean, it's very easy to kind of get sucked into all the excitement that is the Royal Rumble with all the surprises and all the scuttlebutt. That's when all the rumors come out of like, oh, this person's going to show up. This person's just got another contract. This person's doing this WrestleCon or whatever thing is going on. So there's always the swill or the, what do you want to even call it, the stirring of emotions around that time period because everything's up in a mystery. And it's just, I know a lot of people do like watch parties for the event, and we do that as well. And it's just a fun time to get together. Lady, myself, and Papa Griff, and Mrs. G to hang out, watch the event, and have a good time with. So yeah, this Royal Rumble, I think, absolutely crushed it. There's definitely been years where it's like a fun experience watching it for sure with all the mysteries and whatnot. But then sometimes with the results, you're like, yeah, it's, you know, kind of the one or two I was expecting, or it's somebody you don't really want, and it's very obvious how the next six months, why do I think Mania's in December? The next 2 to 3 months is going to be as they build to Mania. What are the programs there? And I think these sets of Rumbles really, especially the men's, really kind of took everything we were expecting and threw it away, and it kept this like what do I want to say, like not dream match, but this weird matchmaking dynamic that's going on in everybody's head, where once again it doesn't feel like it's the super obvious plan going ahead. I would hope there's a plan. Triple H seems to be doing pretty well with making his plans when final bosses don't scoot their way in. But it seems like, from a fan perspective, it's not just the writing's on the wall, that's the way they're going to go. It seems like there's a lot up in the air in terms of possibilities, which is exciting and makes it more intriguing to watch as a result, which I really appreciate. So let's go over the 4 matches that there were on the Rumble. So we started with the Women's Rumble match. Let me... would have been smart to pull up everything here. Wouldn't have been. Yeah, probably. So we started with the women's match. So personally pulling for myself, who I was expecting to win out of this, with Charlotte coming back, I was like, all right, that's the probably obvious choice. It ended up being. But I wanted Io to win it. So with her coming out number 1, I was like, ooh, all right, I'm excited. You're to run the gauntlet, but it's not looking likely. So we started with Io and Liv. And then, more and more people obviously entered the match. We had some fun surprises here. A lot of NXT appearances in the Rumble here. And we had Lash Legend. We had Jada Parker. We had Julia and Stephanie Vaquero later, which was great. And then in terms of returns, obviously we had Charlotte after the promotion, or the vignettes the last couple weeks. Alexa Bliss probably being the biggest return there. Also shout out to Roxanne Perez. She was in the Rumble. I apologize there. Being number 3 and being the Iron Woman of the match, lasting the longest. So Charlotte came back, like I said. Alexa came back. Nikki Bella probably being the big surprise at 30. So we had some fun surprises there in terms of entrance. Jordynne Grace making her return. I think she's officially signed to WWE as well. So as I had mentioned, Charlotte won, which we see the fallout from, or the response for that, which is funny, and we'll talk about again later when we get to the men's. But yeah, a lot of us, I guess, in the wrestling circles, it's tough to say. I don't know if sick of Charlotte is the right terminology, but we're kind of like over it. Obviously she is amazing in the ring, and she's had some great dance partners out there. The most recent example being Rhea, of she can do amazing things in the ring. It's just we're still getting over that weird, time period of the last regime, and how Charlotte was pushed to the moon, as similar to a Roman was, where we got sick with Roman, how everything, not handed to him, but it seemed like he was always in those pictures, which she can be, and there's other talents certainly, among the women's roster that are like that, I would say now, and even then, the rest of the 4 horsewomen. Rhea is obviously up there now. I feel like Bianca should be up there, but obviously she's doing her stuff with the tag division. Excuse me. But you have those people, as a parallel for the men's division: Seth, Roman, Cody, Gunther, Drew, Jay. You have these players which are kind of always in that main event picture, and for us, it seemed like she was always, if she didn't have the title, she was always in a line or relatively close in succession to having a chance at the title. I mean, I think she already has in the double digits of title reigns. I don't know if she's at 15, right hovering where her dad is, or if she still has a few more. I can't remember off the top of my head. So also the amount of titles in the span of her career, granted it's been 10 years, trying to think of when she showed up in NXT, 2014, 2015 maybe-ish, so could be that. Maybe, I don't know if it's just the rapid succession or rapid I don't know, acquiring of these titles that kind of frustrates people. I'm not sure exactly what it is. So while I appreciate what Charlotte does in the ring, I also agree, and I'm like, do I need her around? She's not something that excites me to I need to watch because Charlotte's going to be on. I kind of was enjoying it without her on. So we've seen the fallout and the feedback there of her winning, and it's sad, especially recording this after Monday Night Raw. So especially after Monday Night Raw, where you have both the winners kind of go out, say their piece, and Jay, spoiler alert, Jay gets to go out, dump his heart out, and, be emotional about the win, and the audience gives him that reception, which, they've been on this ride with him, and for her to do the same after a big, substantial injury, for then the crowd just to, tear her a new one, I felt a little bad, because it's ooh, I don't know if this is real emotion that she's trying to get off of her chest, and because she did go through that big injury, and it's could you just hear her out for one thing, or if it's just the ploy to try and get her to be babyface for her eventual, I'm guessing, Tiffany Stratton match at Mania, so her face, Tiffany heel. If that's the case, if they wanted to make her the babyface in this situation, I feel like her not winning the Rumble would have helped. You could sell the knee injury a little bit more during the match, and she get build that sympathy up a little bit more, instead of just being here's the win. Even have her enter earlier. I think she didn't enter till maybe 27-ish. So she was a late entry to just come in, and then, she was 27. Come in, win, be on this fast track to Mania. That didn't really help her cause if you want her to be this babyface role. Have her come in early, have her struggle, and go through the gauntlet and try and win this thing, sell her knee more. Obviously, she was wearing the brace. She was also wearing a weird diaper whale tail thing. But you could take different methods to build her up as a sympathetic babyface, someone you want to root for, than just, oh, here's another opportunity given to you. So when she couldn't voice her, I think, actual emotions and feelings of returning after a year since her injury, that felt a little bad. And then, yeah, you saw how long the attempted face thing worked as she kind of snapped back against the fans. Rhea came out. I mean, I know they want to show like all the possibilities, as tonight she's over in NXT to see if Julia sparks, she inspires her, I think was the phrase. She's going to go to SmackDown. Jay's doing the same, going to SmackDown. Why is he not going to NXT for Obafemi? That's a little bit of a question mark there. But all in all, minus the result in terms from a personal standpoint of being like, yeah, that doesn't really excite me. I think the women did a great job here. I'm trying to think of, standouts. Jordan, like I said, Jordan Grace was good to see her again. I'm excited to see what she does, hopefully on the main roster, as she's already done some stuff in NXT, but excited to see her journey in WWE. Would have been hype as hell for her to win. Io, it seems like we have a little bit of a story brewing where maybe she would go after Rhea, which, hey, as long as I get that match, I'm excited. Cool to see Julia there. Cool to see Stephanie Becker there. You had a little build for the women's IC title between Lyra and Ivy. Maxine got her revenge against Ivy. Chelsea Green was class as always. I don't know if they really had any build for a U.S. title potential opponent. I've been personally enjoying Nia more and more. While she's not my most favorite to watch, she's definitely better than she was. So good to see her in there. Nikki Bella is an interesting one. It was cool to see. Did I mention Trish was back? I think I did. Cool to see Nikki back. I don't know if I want, if she does anything for me in terms of a full-time, if she's coming back for full-time. No idea what she's doing. As long as she's happy and healthy after what she's been going through personally, that's way more important than anything there. So we'll see. But yeah, all in all, ladies, was a good match. Then we got to the 2 out of 3 falls. Okay. Sorry. One more thing I'll say about the Women's Rumble. How many kip-ups were there? I joked about how many kip-ups were going on as everybody hits their move, kip-up at the end. And the guys did a little bit, but it was just funny, the rapid succession of kip-ups in the early Rumble. They also had the ticker at the bottom. I thought that was going to be more distracting than it was. It was early on, but I think I kind of got used to it as the night went on. But that was nice to always check in and be like, oh, so-and-so has been lasting this long. These people have been eliminated. How many people are left alive? Whatever, left in the match. So that was nice. So then we got to the tag match. I had high hopes for this one. I was kind of hoping that DIY and Machine Guns would just be lit off the chains, steal the show. I mean, I've been watching WWE for many, many years, but NXT, as a lot of us, Black and Gold brand was like, oh shit, a resurgence of exciting stuff. So I was kind of hoping that these guys could harken back to that style of wrestling. And the match wasn't bad in any way, shape, or form. I think it was getting there. I don't know if it fully reached that potential. And I also don't know if it's it's hard to say if, what am I trying to, kind of the rose tinted glasses things, but I've already seen it. I've already seen one level. Is that level actually a higher level wrestling? Is that what I am seeing right now? Or have I built it up in my head to be this bigger thing? I don't think so, because I feel like I still go back to NXT matches and takeovers of old and still feel like, wow, yeah, that's really good. Granted, once again, it could be that nostalgia factor, which sounds weird to say. I don't know. I think these guys did a good job. The crowd was behind it. Granted, it's after the Rumble. You just expended all this energy with all this surprises. So there's that. I think they tried. It was a solid match throughout. It also could just be a matter of building up tag teams. I know in comparison, they don't get as much build as single superstars here and there. Certainly could be a whole nother deep dive conversation of, I mean, it's with the women too. How much build did we have going into the women's Rumble in comparison to the men's? Not that much. But tag team wrestling, yeah, stories and that stuff, it's got its start and stop moments. So maybe if it's just building that more, like looking back at last year's Mania 40, splitting the tag belts, is the tag division in a better spot now than when the tag belts were combined? I don't know if they are. It is. Over on Raw, I'm trying to think of who the tag team champs. So you had Awesome Truth coming out of it. You had Judgment Day, I believe, win it after them. They held it till recently when the War Raiders have taken it. That's been the only movement there. I can't really think of many tag matches that stand out for the titles in particular. On the SmackDown side of things, you had A-Town Down Under, I believe, win them at Mania. Then, was it DIY? Yeah, I think it was DIY. Then it was Bad Bloodline. Then it was the Guns. Now it's back to DIY. You know, hit or miss there. So I don't know if more investment on that side of things would have helped this match more. Granted, once again, the energy just can't be, to the moon the entire time. There's going to be ebbs and flow, and that's an unfortunate hill that they need to climb with this. Street Profits return at the end of it. A little confusing. It was implied that DIY attacked the Street Profits because it was supposed to be Profits machine guns for the title. Profits got attacked. DIY stepped in. That's when they won the tag titles. So it's implied DIY attacked him to get that shot. Street Profits seem to be wanting to get the revenge and want to do it personally, so they help DIY get the tag belts here to retain. But then attack DIY afterwards, which Ciampa's got a gnarly nose, like swollen and all that crap, either after the attack or in the match. So that's a little confusing. I assume this is going to go to a triple threat at some point. I'd love to see a Fatal 4-Way get, yes boy, pretty deadly in there. Maybe at Mania. But yeah, I mean, glad the Street Profits are back. Just a little weird on the delivery there. Then we got to our World WWE Championship, not the World's Gunther. WWE Championship match, the ladder match with Cody and Kevin. Killed it. Not a lot of ladder climbing. Not a lot of slow, getting up there. They just took their time. They smacked the shit out of each other. Took some nasty bumps. And we got Cody retaining. The ending seemed a little abrupt. I don't know if Kevin was actually hurt. It seems like he's fine enough to attack Sami Zayn on Monday. But he's still, sporting a little bit of a swollen eye and whatnot. And probably still in a bit of pain. But yeah, just the Alabama slam through the ladder while looking brutal. Cody just went, okay, I'm in the ring, zoop, right up and got it. And I was like, oh, all right. Not that's it, because obviously they went through a lot. It just seemed abrupt. But yeah, quite a few nasty bumps there. There was the Fisherman Buster on the ladder across. There was the power bomb onto Cody on that little ladder on the bottom where he kind of caught it with his arm. I already mentioned the Alabama Slam. There was the ladder propped on its side, and Kevin just flat bumped on that and didn't even move an inch. Owie. Yeah, a lot of nasty stuff. A lot of ladders put in there. I wish there was maybe more unique stuff with the ladder. A lot of slamming on the ladder. I don't know what I'm expecting. Ladder bridges. Get ladder bridges back. But yeah, good overall. A little violence out of Cody here and there. Could be, I don't know if it's a heel side coming out. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Sammy did come out during the match, didn't interfere at all, just kind of checked in on his friends. I guess that's why Kevin attacked him, because he didn't actually help out. That's a little weird to me. He was there as your friend. He was concerned, but he didn't interfere, so I'm gonna attack you. I don't know. We'll see. That could, they do great matches, the two of them. I wonder if this is a build to the Chamber. I wonder if this is a Mania match. Personally, I think it would have been a little bit more invested if Kevin had won here, and then Sammy and Kevin could go for the title, and Sammy gets his big win there. That's me personally. I know we got a lot of matches between the two. I was trying to look it up today when their last time ever match was, and I think it was, they fought at Mania 37, but then the rivalry continued a little bit after that. I want to say it was 2019-ish, but you'll have to fact check me on that. So it's been a few years, so I think I'm a little bit more lenient with that. But we'll have to keep an eye on that. I think it would be cool chamber-wise, just because they're in Canada and both being Canadians, you could do something cool there, especially with the Mania card, as we're going to talk about, being quite busy. We'll have to see. We'll have to keep an eye on it. And then we got to the men's Rumble. Not a lot of surprise here in terms of entrance. So not a lot of surprise here in terms of entrance. Kind of standard. We got 2 surprises. We got IShowSpeed in there. Ugh. Only good thing is he died. Not died, but, you know, he got kind of nailed with that spear by Braun Breaker. Jam! And thrown by Otis. So that was, you know, I was like, all right, fine. That was satisfying to watch. Apparently that clip's been doing huge numbers. I'd be curious to know what the crossover is or what the payoff is. Like, if it's just social media views, like, obviously that's great. No doubt about it. Any press like that is going to be huge for you. But, like, what is the carryover of, like, okay, I know IShowSpeed. Oh my God, he was in this wrestling clip. I should watch wrestling now. Like, what's the carryover having these types of celebrities involved? Like, Speed obviously being involved, obviously Logan Paul being around, but he's signed, so that's a whole nother story. The Kai Cenat being there and doing some streaming with them, as they seem to be doing more streamer stuff. I don't want it to get too hokey with it, where we're relying on these appearances and for the momentary buzz, and it detracts away from stuff. I don't think this did. I felt it did at the beginning, but the payoff, selfishly, I was like, yeah, that was worth it. So Speed came in for Tozawa, which I'm sorry, Tozawa. I was like, oh God, you got a number, dude. This ain't good. And then we did get our one big surprise. I think a lot of people were believing that it would happen, but it finally did at 15. Joe Hendry did show up, TNA World Champion. Thank you, lady. Huge pop. So glad to see him there. Got a little bit of interaction with some people. We had a moment with Roman, unfortunately, where Roman dumped him. So that sucked. Going back to Braun got some huge spears in there, which was great to see. Man, my memory is cheeks, even though I watched this Rumble twice. I didn't mean to mention it, and I'm sorry. We're going to circle back to the Women's Rumble just for a quick moment. The Alexa Bliss stuff. Apparently, this was the last minute that she signed a deal with WWE. Cool to see her back. I'm excited for it. She's been gone for what seems like forever. I didn't expect her to come back in the spooky gimmick. I was kind of thinking maybe she would come back as herself. Rumors are she's going to be on Monday Night Raw, which Wyatt 6 is over on SmackDown, so that's confusing. The Lily doll and the spooky appearance would make me think she's going to be involved with Wyatt 6. The Lily doll also had the number 6 in the eye, so that confuses me. You could do some tag stuff with Nikki Cross. You know, get Nikki Cross involved a little bit more, instead of just relying a female component to whatever faction the Wyatt 6 is going after. We'll have to see. Time will tell there. But the reason I wanted to talk about this is the unfortunate person she replaced, Shotzi. Shotzi Blackheart was supposed to be in her spot. Was like the alternate. That's the word. So I just feel bad for Shotzi. I know she's been doing some more work down in NXT recently, tagging with Tatum Paxley and Gigi Dolan. I think they're doing the Chemical X is like their name. I don't know if it's official, but it just sucks. I was like, no, they're gonna obviously have backup plans if things don't work out, but I just felt bad there. She was there for rehearsals, everything, bada bing, bada boom, and then, oh, here comes Bliss. So there it is. Okay, back to the men's. So I put over Braun Breaker, Jacob Fatu. I'm a huge Fatu fan now. Cool to see him. Good start with Penta and Ray. Bless you, most. Jeez. I was hoping for Joe in one of those spots for a big entrance, but he got his big pop at 15. Like I said, not a lot of surprises. I was hoping for a Trick Williams in here. I thought his entrance would get a huge reaction as well. I think this is the second year in a row where the women's Rumbles have had more NXT representation than the men's. A little sad to see, kind of get it, as the NXT men's division, at least right now, isn't at its strongest. Granted, you got Ethan Page you could have thrown in there. Wesley's been around for a while. Throw him in. So, yeah, men's went well. And then you had a lot of big hitters in this Rumble, obviously. Roman, Sammy, Drew, Punk, Cena, Logan Paul, Jey Uso. I mentioned Fatu. Like, you had a lot of heavy hitters in this Rumble. So I think my prediction going into it was Punk. I thought Punk was going to win it because, once again, we were all thinking we're on this brain track of, like, the obvious winner. So Cody obviously got to finish his story last year. Those ones were kind of predictable, right? So we thought, okay, the Punk Mania main event. That's what we're going to build to. Maybe him and Gunther, him and Punk, as we did the go-home shows with those promos. They could go either way with this. You could got a Roman do a three-peat with Cody, right? You could have had Dwayne pop in at number 31, final boss it, Mana, whatever. There was more obvious, predictable stuff that could have happened. But no, we decided to go huge with it. So Seth and Roman are being Seth and Roman. They're fighting each other, got this continued Shield rivalry going. They're fighting. Punk dumps both of them. Oh my God, huge thing. Logan Paul comes in, dumps Punk. Everybody's like, what? Because we're all on that same wavelength of like, what? Punk's going to win this. Now he's not. So you had, I think, final three were Logan Paul, Jey Uso, John Cena. Okay. And then we're all delete all the control, delete, wipe our brain. Cena's winning this. It's Cena's last Mania. Me, in the back of my head, I'm like, but they already advertised him for Elimination Chamber. This doesn't make any sense to me. Logan Paul, in the meanwhile, gets his ass dumped out, thank God. So you get to Cena and Jey, and I'm like, why would you advertise him for Elimination Chamber? So they're fighting. You get the AA attempt on the outside. Jey slips in, pushes Cena out, and Jey Uso wins the Royal Rumble. Holy shit. Like, I was so excited. I was so flabbergasted. Like, circles I follow online were hype as shit for Jey. Everybody in the crowd yeeting around. Insane. Like, it just blew my mind. Like, it just didn't seem possible. Like, obviously, he's main event Jey Uso. He's been pushed. He's been having title matches against a Damian Priest, against a Drew, against a Gunther. Like, he's been in these circles, but it didn't feel like he was the guy to get something like this. If we think back to Rumbles, I don't know, in the past 10 years, how many, like, big surprise winners have there been? On the women's side, it's a little different because we haven't established it. Granted, it's been around for, what did they say, 8 years already? And I'm like, what? Time flies there. Like, was Shinsuke the last big surprise winner? And then before that, was it Alberto Del Rio, perhaps? Other than that, guys, you're like, yeah, you know, an Edge, an Orton, a Roman, a Seth, Drew. I guess Drew could have been a big surprise. Like, yeah, I guess Drew at the time. So, I don't know. This one just baffled me of, like, not baffled in a bad way. Just like, wow, we're doing this. Okay. A little confusing. He just lost to Saturday night's main event. You're going to have him go against Gunther again. You just lost. And so a little confusing there. Let's talk about the backlash. We've already talked about the backlash for Charlotte. As we saw on Monday. Follow through. People not happy about it. There was backlash online about Jey winning. Now, key word there is online. Online, everybody is a hater. Everybody just wants to bitch and moan. But as you saw Monday, everyone is so hype and ecstatic for Jey winning this. yeeting their brains out. The signs, the merch, the support when he's getting emotional. People are locked in. So, good call. And shout out to the What Culture guys, but they made this point. Jay winning does something even bigger than just this result, this Royal Rumble's result. This takes the next 5 years of Rumbles and truly paints that brush over it of like anyone can win. Like I said, we all have this predictability of like, you can see going into it, all right, who's probably gonna make it. But we always fantasy book like, oh, it'd be awesome if so-and-so won or this person won. But then you have the people who are like, no, but in reality, blah is going to win. Like I did it earlier with Charlotte. Granted, the Charlotte one came true. But, I was like, I really want Io to win because she's been kicking ass. But it's probably going to be Charlotte. We had that with the men's. I really want so-and-so to win. But it's probably going to be Punk. But then this happened. So this just helps to, even if it's a facade, and that sounds bad to say, but it helps us escape, what's the term? You go to the movies, you suspend your disbelief. It gives us that going into these Rumbles where anybody could take this. Now, I'm not saying, okay, sorry to shout him out again, in this light especially Akira Tozawa. He's not going to just come in and win the Rumble, but it gives you, as a fan, that opportunity that maybe this is an opportunity for someone who's been on the rise, who's been kicking ass, whether it's mid-card, tag, whatever it is. This will propel them to give them that shot. Doesn't mean they have to win, but anybody could win this. And that's cool, because that's the point of these things. You don't want to just be going in and be like, well, I'm here for 3 hours. I already know what's going to happen. No, that's dumb. That's silly. You want to be able to dive fully into it, especially in the shitty world we live in now. Turn your brain off for a few hours. Just invest, escape, have a good time. So that was cool win all in all. Where does that leave everybody else? Boy, oh boy. That's a great question. We talked about the Sami Kevin thing. Don't know where that's going. Who's Cody fighting? You got the Chamber qualifiers going on right now. You got Cena and Punk in there. So it seems like the winner of the Chamber will go after will go after Cody. I don't know. I would lean once again towards Punk, but do you do the rumored Cena Cody that's been going around? Then what do you do with Punk? Punk Roman? Heyman fight? What's Seth's involvement? He curb stomped both of them. He fucking double foot curb stomped Roman. What about Roman and Jacob? We not doing that anymore? Everything's up in the air. It's insane. What's Drew doing? What's Damian doing? Probably each other in a fight that Drew's not happy about, if we're to be believed. What's LA Knight doing? What's AJ doing? What's Logan? We don't need to worry about Paul happening. It's insane. We have more opportunity to fantasy book now, like, instead of just being, yep, that's the definite path. Like, you want seeds to be sown in the Rumble, for sure. We talked about it with the women's, right? Ivy and Lyra, they're building on that feud. I don't know if Roxy and Bayley had any, if much, interaction in the Rumble here, but they have a feud going on right now. PFC was PFC. I don't know. There were a few seeds sown there. Obviously, my dumb brain can't remember too much, but with the men, we got it, but we didn't get any long picture Mania stuff. And I don't know if the women got that either, but in terms of next steps, we see where a few of them are going. So all in all, I had a blast with this Rumble. It's just, like I said, that night you get to really, hopefully, fantasy book, get really excited about, obviously all the entrances and really speculate who's coming in, who's going to return, all that stuff. I know there are a lot of names out there as potentials. Becky, what's she doing? Asuka coming back from injury. Hopefully she's safe with all the stuff she's going through. Kyrie injured her arm not too long ago. Don't know the extent of that. The Iconics. Oh, that was awful. Like, where are they? They were in WrestleCon. more TNA crossover. Masa Slamovich. Do not say Tessa Blanchard. We talked about on the men's side with Trick Williams from NXT. Ethan Page would have been fun. I know Shawn Spears is Shawn Spears, but, a little 10 action Ty Dillinger. Matt Cardona is always a name that floats around during this time. Josh Alexander recently ended his tenure with TNA. Trying to think of any men returning who've been signed. Of course, there's going to be somebody dumb that I didn't think of. The Rock, I guess I already guessed about, or joked about, not guessed about. I don't know. It's a fun time. I hope you guys had a fun time at the Rumble. If you guys have any thoughts about, obviously, the matches or what you think is going to happen at Mania, let me know down in the comment section below, and we'll chat about it more.